My dear friends, I want you to begin tonight by considering something that may change the way you look at your entire life. Manifestation is not something outside of you. It is not some mysterious force floating somewhere in the universe waiting to be persuaded, begged, manipulated, or forced into action. It is not separate from your daily life. It is not separate from your thoughts, your feelings, your assumptions, your habits, your inner conversations, or the way you quietly define yourself when no one else is listening. Manifestation is not apart from you. Manifestation is you. It is the natural expression of your consciousness. It is the invisible becoming visible through the state you consistently occupy. It is the creative power of life moving through your imagination, your feeling, your belief, and your concept of yourself. Everything you are experiencing in your outer world has some relationship to the inner world you have accepted as real. Your life is not merely happening to you, it is happening through you. It is moving from the unseen into the seen, from assumption into circumstance, from inner state into outer form. Now, I know that can be a challenging idea at first, because most of us were raised to believe that the world is outside of us and that we must react to it. We were taught to look at circumstances and call them reality. We were taught to look at the bank account, the body, the relationship, the job, the past, the facts, the opinions, and say, this is what is true. But I want to invite you to see it differently. What you call your present reality is more like a garment you are wearing. It may feel familiar, it may feel comfortable, it may even feel inevitable, but it is not permanent. It is not your identity. It is not the final truth of who you are. Just as you can remove one garment and put on another, you can remove one state of consciousness and put on another. You can stop wearing the old identity of lack, fear, struggle, rejection, delay, or limitation, and you can begin wearing the state of abundance, love, peace, health, confidence, and fulfillment. The garment changes when the state changes. This is one of the great secrets of fast manifestation. You do not change your life by fighting endlessly with the old garment. You change your life by no longer identifying with it. You step inwardly into the new state. You assume it. You feel it. You live from it. And then, in ways that may seem surprising to the rational mind, the outer world begins to rearrange itself to match the consciousness you have chosen. Now, some of you may be wondering, but Wayne, how can manifestation happen quickly? Doesn't change take a long time? Don't I have to work for years, struggle, prove myself, overcome endless obstacles, and wait until life finally decides to bless me? And I would say to you, change appears slow only when consciousness remains loyal to the old state. If the inner state has not changed, years can pass and nothing essential changes. A person may move to another city, start another relationship, begin another job, earn more money, meet new people, and still carry the same inner assumptions. And when the same assumptions remain, the same patterns reappear in new forms. But when consciousness shifts deeply, when the feeling of the wish fulfilled becomes real within you, change can occur with astonishing speed. The speed of manifestation is not determined primarily by external conditions. It is determined by the intensity of your belief, the vividness of your imaginal act, the depth of your feeling, and the consistency with which you live from the state of fulfillment. When your inner world becomes clear, unified, and emotionally alive, the outer world begins to respond. You see, every assumption is a seed. Every belief is a seed. Every repeated feeling is a seed. Every inner conversation is a seed. And your subconscious mind is fertile soil. Many people are living in lives of lack, not because life has cursed them, not because the universe has denied them, not because they are unworthy, but because for many years they have unknowingly planted seeds of limitation. They have planted, I am not enough. They have planted, things never work out for me. They have planted, money is hard to get. They have planted, love always leaves. They have planted, my body is against me. They have planted, I am too old. They have planted, it is too late. And if these seeds are planted again and again with emotion, with repetition, with inner conviction, then eventually they produce a harvest. Not because the person wanted that harvest consciously, but because the subconscious accepts the dominant impression. But here is the liberating truth. You can choose new seeds. You can consciously plant new assumptions. You can begin tonight to impress upon your deeper mind a new identity, a new feeling, a new expectation, a new relationship with life. This is the foundation of fast manifestation. You begin by becoming conscious of what you are planting, and then you deliberately plant what you desire to experience. The first step is clarity. You must know what you wish to manifest, not vaguely, not carelessly, not with scattered energy. Clearly, do not simply say, I want more money. Ask yourself, what does financial abundance mean to me? How much? For what purpose? What would my life feel like if this abundance were already present? What would I do differently? How would I breathe? How would I move through the day? How would I give? How would I rest? How would I make decisions? Do not simply say, I want love. Ask yourself, what does love feel like to me? What kind of connection am I willing to receive? What qualities are present? Is there peace? Is there emotional safety? Is there kindness? Is there devotion? Is there shared joy? Do not simply say, I want success. Ask yourself, what does success mean to my soul? Is it freedom? Is it expression? Is it recognition? Is it impact? Is it service? Is it the joy of using my gifts? Clarity gives direction to imagination, and imagination gives form to consciousness. The more clearly you define the state, the more clearly you communicate with the subconscious mind. But clarity alone is not enough. Once the desire is clear, you must assume the feeling of the wish fulfilled. This is the most important point. You must feel the reality of your desire now, not someday, not in a distant future, not after all the conditions are perfect. Now, because the subconscious mind does not create from someday, it responds to what feels real now. If you continually feel that your desire is far away, then far away becomes the state you are impressing. If you continually feel that you are waiting, then waiting becomes the experience. If you continually feel that you are lacking, then lack continues to reproduce itself. So you must ask yourself, how would I feel if this were already fulfilled? Would I feel peaceful? Would I feel grateful? Would I feel free? Would I feel secure? Would I feel loved? Would I feel confident? Would I feel relieved? Would I feel generous? Would I feel whole? That feeling is not a luxury. That feeling is the creative substance. You must embody it. You must let it move through the body. You must allow yourself to become familiar with it. And I know what the mind may say. The mind may say, but how can I feel something that is not yet true? And I want you to understand this deeply. It is already true in consciousness the moment you enter the state. Your imagination is the bridge. Your imagination allows you to step beyond the evidence of the senses and enter the inner reality where all transformation begins. Your imagination is not childish fantasy. It is not meaningless daydreaming. It is not escape. Your imagination is the workshop of God within you. It is the faculty through which you touch possibility before it becomes fact. It is the place where you rehearse a new identity until it becomes natural. It is where the invisible seed is planted before the visible tree appears. Every created thing began first as something imagined. The chair you are sitting on, the building you are in, the device you hold, the music you love, the books you read, the healing methods, the technologies, the works of art, the great movements of history, all of them first existed in consciousness. Someone imagined before the world saw. Someone felt possibility before the world agreed. Someone lived inwardly from an unseen reality before it became visible. And you are asked to do the same. To manifest quickly, you must use imagination consciously, deliberately, and emotionally. Begin by quieting the mind. The ordinary mind is often noisy. It chatters, it worries, it calculates, it remembers, it compares, it predicts, it argues. It brings up every reason why your desire cannot happen. So before you impress the subconscious, you must become still. Relax the body, soften the breath, let the shoulders release. Let the mind become quieter. Enter a state like the edge of sleep, relaxed, receptive, but still aware. This is a powerful state because the deeper mind becomes more open to impression. Then create a scene, a short scene, a simple scene, a scene that implies your desire has already been fulfilled. If your desire is a successful career, perhaps you imagine sitting in the office you love, feeling that you belong there. Perhaps you hear someone say, your work has changed so many lives. Perhaps you receive congratulations from colleagues. Perhaps you feel the satisfaction of doing meaningful work with ease and confidence. If your desire is financial abundance, perhaps you imagine looking at a bank statement and feeling calm gratitude. Perhaps you imagine paying for something without fear. Perhaps you imagine giving generously to someone you love. Perhaps you imagine sitting quietly in your home, feeling the freedom that abundance has brought into your life. If your desire is love, perhaps you imagine a hand in yours. Perhaps you hear loving words. Perhaps you feel the warmth of being understood. Perhaps you sit with someone in silence and feel complete peace. If your desire is health, perhaps you imagine walking with strength. Perhaps you hear a doctor say everything looks wonderful. Perhaps you feel yourself waking with energy, breathing deeply, grateful for the intelligence of the body. Keep the scene brief. The subconscious does not need a long story. It needs a clear impression. Then step into the scene. Do not watch yourself from outside. Be there. Look through your own eyes. Hear the sounds. Feel the textures. Notice the atmosphere. Let the scene become present. And most importantly, let the feeling rise. Gratitude, relief, joy, satisfaction, peace, freedom, naturalness. That feeling gives life to the image. This is where many people falter. They can picture something, but they do not feel it. They visualize as though watching a movie, but they remain emotionally outside of it. And without feeling, imagination remains weak. With feeling, imagination becomes creative. Feeling is the power. Feeling is the signal. Feeling is the language of the subconscious. When you feel the wish fulfilled, you are saying to the deeper mind, this is my reality. And the subconscious, accepting the dominant feeling as truth, begins to reorganize your perception, your behavior, your intuition, your actions, and the field of events around you. Now with repetition, the feeling becomes easier. The first time you enter the scene, it may feel artificial. That is all right. Do not criticize yourself. The old state has been practiced for a long time. The new state may need tenderness and repetition. Return to the scene. Feel it again. Return the next day. Feel it again. Each time you do this, you deepen the groove. At first, the needle may skip, as on an old record. The mind may wander, doubt may interrupt, the feeling may come and go. But as you repeat the imaginal act with sincerity, the groove deepens. The state becomes more natural. The feeling begins to arise more easily. And eventually, it is no longer something you visit. It becomes something you live from. This is where fast manifestation accelerates. Because it is not enough to imagine for a few minutes and then return to the old identity for the rest of the day. You must carry the feeling into waking life. This is where many stumble. They meditate beautifully, they visualize beautifully, they feel fulfilled for 5 minutes. Then they open their eyes and immediately say, but nothing has changed. I still do not have it. Look at these bills. Look at this problem. Look at this delay. Look at what they said. Look at what happened. And in doing so, they return authority to the old state. To manifest quickly, you must give more reality to the inner assumption than to the outer contradiction. This requires faith, but not blind faith. Faith born of understanding. Faith that knows the outer world is effect, not cause. Faith that knows what is visible now is the residue of previous consciousness. Faith that knows the current circumstance is an echo, not a command. Faith that knows the cause lies within. When contradictory evidence appears, do not panic. Do not fight it. Do not spend your energy arguing with it. Simply understand what it is. It is an old echo. It is a shadow of past assumptions. It is not the final word. This is the art of ignoring. Now, ignoring does not mean pretending something is not there. It does not mean neglecting practical responsibilities. It does not mean refusing to pay a bill, refusing to care for the body, refusing to speak honestly, or refusing to act wisely. Ignoring means you do not give the old evidence your creative attention. You acknowledge what must be handled, but you do not worship it. You do not let it define your identity. You do not say, this is who I am. You say, this is an appearance. I will handle what needs to be handled, but I remain faithful to the state of my wish fulfilled. That is mastery. You can pay the bill while feeling abundance. You can visit the doctor while feeling health. You can be single while feeling loved. You can begin small while feeling successful. You can stand in uncertainty while feeling guided. The outer condition does not have to define the inner state. In fact, the inner state must become stronger than the outer condition if transformation is to occur. This is living in the end. Living in the end means you assume the feeling of the fulfilled desire in your daily life. If you desire abundance, you begin to move through the day with the inner ease of one who is supported. You may still make wise decisions. You may still budget. You may still work. but you do it from a consciousness of sufficiency rather than fear. If you desire love, you do not walk through the world as someone desperate to be chosen. You carry the quiet dignity of one who is already loved by life, already whole, already worthy. If you desire success, you do not act as one trying to prove worth, you act as one expressing worth. If you desire health, you do not make the body's current condition your entire identity. You bless the body, care for it, and live inwardly from wholeness. Living in the end is not pretending. It is assuming a new state of consciousness. And from that state, your actions naturally change. This brings us to action. Some people misunderstand manifestation. They think it means sitting in a chair, imagining and doing nothing. That is not manifestation. That is passivity. True manifestation does not eliminate action. It transforms the source of action. Action taken from lack feels desperate. It says, I must do this or I will not be safe. I must force this or I will never receive. I must chase because I do not have. Action taken from fulfillment feels inspired. It says, I am guided. I move because life is moving through me. I take this step because it is aligned. The same action can carry two different energies. You can send an email from fear or you can send it from confidence. You can make a phone call from desperation or you can make it from inner knowing. You can work on your craft from self-rejection or you can work on it as an expression of love. You can care for your body from hatred or you can care for it from reverence. Fast manifestation happens when inner state and outer action align. Do not act to create the feeling. Feel first, then act from the feeling. Let the inner state guide the action. When your subconscious is impressed with the fulfilled state, you may suddenly feel called to do something. You may receive an idea. You may meet someone. You may notice an opportunity you previously would have ignored. You may be guided to rest, to speak, to wait, to move, to study, to release, to create. Trust the guidance that comes from alignment. It may not always make sense to the rational mind at first, but it will carry a quiet clarity. Now, let us speak about detachment. Detachment is often misunderstood. Detachment does not mean you do not care. It does not mean you abandon your desire. It does not mean you become cold or indifferent. Detachment means you release anxiety. You release the need to constantly check. You release the obsession with how and when. You release the demand that the universe must deliver through one narrow channel. You release the fear that if you stop worrying, nothing will happen. Worry does not make manifestation faster. Worry is often the affirmation that you do not yet have what you desire. When you are truly living in the end, there is a peaceful expectancy. You are not frantically searching for proof. You are not digging up the seed. You are not asking every hour, where is it? You know the seed has been planted. You know the law is working. You know the unseen is arranging itself. And you allow life to move. This peaceful expectancy is one of the great accelerators of manifestation because it removes resistance. Anxiety delays. Trust allows. Obsession contracts. Detachment opens. When you detach, you remain in the present moment while holding the inner state of fulfillment. You enjoy the journey because you already possess the essence inwardly. This is why gratitude is so powerful. Gratitude is not merely a polite emotion. Gratitude is creative. When you are grateful, you are affirming that something is already given. Gratitude places you in the state of having rather than wanting. So begin to thank life before the physical evidence appears. Thank you for the abundance already moving. Thank you for the love already present. Thank you for the healing already unfolding. Thank you for the guidance already here. Thank you for the doors already opening. Thank you for the unseen support. This does not mean you are pretending. It means you are aligning with the inner reality before the outer world reveals it. Gratitude says, I receive. And receiving is a state. The more you practice gratitude, the more you become familiar with the feeling of fulfillment. And the more familiar fulfillment becomes, the faster your world begins to reflect it. Now, there is another powerful practice that supports fast manifestation, revision. At the end of the day, do not fall asleep carrying the day's disappointments as final truth. Review your day gently. If something happened that did not match your desired state, revise it inwardly. If a conversation was painful, imagine it ending in peace. If you receive bad news, imagine receiving hopeful news. If you reacted in fear, imagine yourself responding with calm strength. If you felt rejected, imagine yourself remaining whole, loved, and secure. Revision is not denial. It is not lying to yourself about what physically occurred. It is changing the impression that the event leaves upon your subconscious mind. If you let every unpleasant event enter your deeper mind unrevised, you allow the old state to keep strengthening itself. But when you revise, you reclaim creative authority. You say, I will not let this event define my consciousness. I choose the inner version that aligns with who I am becoming. This practice changes you. You become less reactive. You stop dragging the past into the future. You stop letting one bad moment become an identity. You begin to sleep in peace rather than in resistance. And sleep is sacred because what you carry into sleep is impressed deeply upon the subconscious. So use the night wisely. Do not sleep as the victim of the day. Sleep as the creator of tomorrow. Now, let us speak about persistence. Even though we are discussing fast manifestation, persistence is still essential. Some desires may appear very quickly. Others require more time because the outer world must reorganize through a series of natural events. Do not judge the law by impatience. Do not abandon the state simply because the visible form has not arrived on your preferred schedule. Persistence does not mean struggle. It means returning to the end, returning to the feeling, returning to the assumption, returning to the new self-concept. When doubt arises, return. When fear arises, return. When old evidence appears, return. When nothing seems to be happening, return. Do not fight doubt. Fighting doubt often feeds it. Simply redirect attention. Say gently, that is the old state. I choose again. This is how you build spiritual strength. Every return is a creative act. Every return says to consciousness, this is where I now live. Over time, the fulfilled feeling becomes dominant. And when it becomes dominant, manifestation becomes natural. Now let us discuss self-concept because this may be the most important factor of all. Many people try to manifest something that contradicts who they believe themselves to be. They imagine wealth, but their self-concept says, people like me never have money. They imagine love, but their self-concept says, I am not chosen. They imagine success, but their self-concept says, I always fail. They imagine health, but their self-concept says, my body is broken. This inner contradiction slows manifestation. So you must be willing to revise your concept of self. You must begin to see yourself as a person for whom your desire is natural. Not as a person trying to become wealthy, but as a person who is inwardly abundant. Not as a person begging for love, but as a person who is lovable, whole, and already held by life. Not as a person fighting for success, but as a person through whom meaningful success naturally expresses. Not as a person trapped by the past, but as a conscious being capable of choosing a new state. At your core, you are not the story. You are not your past experiences. You are not the opinion of others. You are not your current condition. You are awareness. You are consciousness. You are the presence in which all experiences arise. And because consciousness is creative, you can assume a new identity. This is not false. It is actually more true than the old identity, because the old identity was often created by fear, pain, conditioning, and repetition. The new identity is a return to possibility. It is a return to your spiritual nature. It is a return to the truth that you are not limited by what has been. You can recreate yourself inwardly. And when self-concept changes, everything changes. You no longer chase the desire as something outside of you. You become the person who naturally corresponds to it. This is fast manifestation at its deepest level. Not merely getting something, becoming someone, becoming the one who lives in the fulfilled state. Now, let us come back to emotion. Emotion is fuel. A thought may pass through the mind lightly, but a thought joined with emotion impresses the subconscious deeply. This is why fear can manifest so strongly when repeated. Fear is imagination plus emotion directed toward what you do not want. Worry is creative imagination misused. Anxiety is the mind rehearsing an unwanted future with feeling. So if you can feel fear vividly about something you do not want, you can learn to feel gratitude, joy, and relief about what you do want. The power is the same. Only the direction changes. When you imagine your desire fulfilled, do not do it coldly. Do not merely repeat words. Feel the fulfillment. If it is abundance, feel the ease. If it is love, feel the warmth. If it is health, feel the vitality. If it is success, feel the satisfaction. If it is peace, feel the quiet. Let the body participate. Let the nervous system become familiar with the desired reality. Because when the body begins to feel safe in the new state, manifestation accelerates. Many people unconsciously resist their desire because the new state feels unfamiliar. Abundance may feel unsafe if lack is familiar. Love may feel unsafe if rejection is familiar. Success may feel unsafe if hiding is familiar. So you are not only imagining, you are training your being to receive. You are teaching the body, this good is safe, this fulfillment is natural, this is who we are now. And as the state becomes natural, resistance dissolves. Now, I want to bring all of this into a simple daily practice. First, clarify your desire. Know what you want, and more importantly, know the state it represents. Second, enter relaxation. Quiet the mind and soften the body. Third, create a short imaginal scene that implies fulfillment. Fourth, step into the scene from the first person point of view. Fifth, feel the emotions of fulfillment. Gratitude, relief, joy, peace, certainty. Sixth, carry that feeling into the day. Seventh, when contradictory evidence appears, acknowledge what must be handled, but return your creative attention to the fulfilled state. Eighth, take inspired action from the state, not desperate action from lack. Ninth, practice gratitude and detachment. 10th, revise the day before sleep and fall asleep in the assumption that your wish is fulfilled. This is not complicated, but it requires sincerity. It requires attention. It requires your willingness to stop feeding the old state. Do not say, I tried it once and nothing happened. You have practiced your old identity thousands of times. Give the new one your loyalty. Give it your feeling. Give it your attention. Give it your trust. And then let life show you what becomes possible. As we approach the close of our time together, I want to remind you of something essential. You are the operant power in your world. Not because your ego controls everything, not because you must force life, but because consciousness is the place where your experience begins. You are not limited by what your senses currently report. Your senses show you what has been accepted before. Your imagination, joined with feeling, shows you what can now be accepted. And what is accepted inwardly with persistence must seek expression outwardly. So do not wait for the world to give you permission to feel fulfilled. Feel fulfilled now. Do not wait for abundance to feel free. Feel free now. Do not wait for love to feel loved. Feel love now. Do not wait for success to feel successful. Feel the dignity, creativity, and completion of success now. Do not wait for peace to feel peaceful. Enter peace now. This is not denial. This is creation. You are choosing the state from which your future will unfold. And when you choose the state with clarity, vivid imagination, strong feeling, persistence, gratitude, detachment, and aligned action, manifestation can happen faster than the old mind believes possible. The world may call it coincidence. You will know it as consciousness. The world may call it luck. You will know it as alignment. The world may call it timing. You will know it as the bridge of events. The world may call it miracle. You will know it as law. So go now, my dear friends, with this understanding. Use your imagination deliberately. Feel your wish fulfilled deeply. Live in the end faithfully. Ignore old echoes wisely. Take inspired action naturally. Practice gratitude sincerely. Revise the day lovingly. Detach peacefully. And above all, become the person for whom your desire is natural. Because manifestation is not separate from you. It is you. It is your consciousness expressed. It is your inner state made visible. It is the creative power of the divine moving through your own wonderful imagination. Embrace this truth. Live from this truth. And watch as your world begins to transform, reflecting back to you the mastery you have finally chosen to claim within yourself.